I struggle with the precision versus speed issue, especially with rifle from target to target. If you want to expound on that, well, I'm hitting my part of it and Mike can hit his. The speed and precision part is going to come down to the visual part that what do you see the target as? Do you see the target as one piece of steel, or are you looking to a specific point on the steel? Or if it's paper, are you looking to a specific point on the paper? And if you're having trouble doing that, especially if it's paper, throw a paster up there, throw a 2-inch like black circle up there, whatever it is. Give yourself something to get your eyes to lock onto, to start training yourself that I need my eyes to be here. And I think you will find, at least I found, if my eyes can get locked on it, it's far easier to just trust that my body is going to put the dot up around the spot that I'm looking at. And I very often catch myself looking at my dot as it comes in. So even when I'm being very patient and I got my eyes where I want them, as the dot comes in, as the rifle transitions or the pistol transitions across, as it coming into that final area, I'll pick the dot up and I can catch myself ticking my eyes over to it. And I have to remind myself, no, get back on the target. Even if that takes 0.3 of a second, I want my eyes back on the target when I do it. With the rifle specifically, I would tell you guys to start pushing faster than you think you can, and you will very likely be surprised by the results. It's rarely as bad as you think it is with a rifle. The pistol's got a lot too much you can actually do to it. What do you got on that, Mike?
I'm looking at, no, I don't have anything to add to that. I mean, that is picking something out visually. The visual piece of it is everything. Vision drives everything you do. And if you're not exercising that vision, and if you're not doing basically freaking wind sprints with your vision, forcing your vision to move faster, you're not going to get faster, and you're not going to get more precise. Sloppy vision leads to sloppy shooting. I just did yesterday, just working on some stuff that I do, 180 degree turn, 2 headshots, 10 yards under 2 seconds. Okay. The difference between, I call it like snapping my head like I'm trying to break my own neck versus turning, I call it turning with your head on your shoulders, where your head kind of leads a little bit, but your shoulders go with it. That right there is 0.1 of a second guaranteed. 0.1 of a second. Just how quickly I get my vision to the target and how precise that vision is drives it all. And to me, this is just my 2 cents, the shooting part doesn't start until your vision's on the target.
Agreed.
So the faster you get your vision to the target, then the shooting piece begins. I can't begin the shooting piece if I don't even see where I'm shooting. So again, that portion of it, the speed on anything. If you're shooting steel, find something that shines. Find something that stands out. Find one specific previous bullet mark. But you've got to teach that vision in order to get the speed and precision with it.
What was I going to think on that? When you guys are working target transitions, I think we have like our own ideas of what that is, right? I'm not saying it's 5 bad guys. I'm saying he's moving along there. Well, they're not moving. It's individual spaces. But if you look at that as I am training myself to look to a target, identify it, and have a precise point that I want to hit. And if you're only using it for that, I think you're winning, right? You're starting to learn better. You don't need to throw a scenario into it. You don't need to be like, well, I got to identify this guy with this gun. Cool. But even when you do, if you identify the human as a threat with an object, that tells you, if the object is what tells you it's a threat and your focus is on the object, you're not aiming at the point that's going to stop the threat. Okay. So it was on our robot again. We got the dummy and we'll Velcro like these knives or guns, and it'll drive around. If it's a gun, if it's not pointing to you, it's a not threat. So they just got to track it. And if it turns to them, it's a threat. They can shoot it just to get them an idea of what they're going to do. Same thing with a knife. So it's moving around. If it turns to them and backing up, not a threat. They can, it's just kind of like, hey, there's the scenario decision-making part of it. But once it advances and attacks, it's a threat. And what we often find is we had one officer put 2 rounds through the blade of the knife this way, those plastic, prop knives, through the blade of the knife. And that shit's amazing at 12 yards. You hit a freaking 1/4 inch wide, if that piece of freaking plastic. But it was just one of those things where that is where her mind was in the time it was amped up. It was like, and when it turned, her eyes were on the knife and they never left it. And she was able to subconsciously put the dot where she was looking. And that is where her intent and intention went to. That, in reality, I guess you could shoot the knife out of the guy's hand, but that's not what we need. So like even on a target, you don't need to see a target. You need to find the point of the target that's going to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're shooting USPSA, the goal would be center mass alphas,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're shooting targets in the shoot house, whatever it may be, if your point that you're looking to, if you identify the threat, does it make sense? Like identify a threat and then find the off switch.
Yeah.
Where's the off switch that I need to hit? How many rounds do I need to, how many, what do I need to roll in Dungeons and Dragons to stop this one? 3? Cool. 1, 2, 3. Whatever it is that you need to stop it, but it has to be over that point. Because we see the same thing in Sims. That's why you get shot in the hands,
all the time.
And like, it's like, man, you couldn't hit me in this fucking hand if you tried, but sure as hell, when we start shooting at each other, your vision and your abilities go to that. So learn how to use that innate ability for your benefit.
Yeah, that's something that was trained where I was at in the Army, was trained really hard. We were hell on us about shooting the photograph, the cartoon targets in the hands. Because like you were just shooting, you looked and saw what you needed to see, and then you just stayed there. You didn't find the best place to deliver fire, and that's something that a lot of people need to have trained out of them. That needs to be practiced. It's not at the speed of life, they're going to look, oh shit, it's a gun, and start shooting exactly where they're looking, instead of transitioning to the center of the biggest piece and put bullets in that. And it's like I said, it has to be trained on. And I've seen it in Sims with civilians. I've seen it in Sims with cops. I've seen it in Sims with soldiers.